We know personal training is all about building relationships with your clients and making sure that those relationships can be sustained year upon year upon year to guarantee you revenue that's going to be coming in every single month. But how you do that is really, really important. So here's what happens when you build a proper relationship with the client, and here's what happens when you show the right kind of interest in your clients. So we know building a personal training business is all about the relationships you build with your clients. But how you go about that and how you go about strengthening that is really, really important. So many personal trainers fall into the trap of talking about themselves too much, talking about what they do, what their training is, what their interests are. And what we really need to do is, again, switch that focus to the client. Now, that seems really obvious, but people love to talk about themselves, and personal trainers are no different. So trying to make the personal trainer step back a little bit and make the client front and centre of everything you do within that hour is going to be incredibly important to make them feel special, but more importantly, to make them come back and continue to spend money with you. So how do you go about that? Well, making them feel a star every single hour is really, really important. Now, it's really important to show that you've understood exactly what they've told you. And I don't just mean from a training point of view, I mean from a family perspective, issues they're having at work, what they think about local politics, or what they think about politics in the world in general. All these little things, you can start to build a database about what turns your clients on and what makes them spark and what their interests are. Now, if you can pick up on these little things, every single time they tell you something, you need to be able to store it in the back of your head so you can bring it out at another time. Because showing them that you are listening and taking things on board and being able to recall things from a week ago, a month ago, even a year ago, shows that you are interested in them. And if they think that you are interested in them, they're going to stay with you for a lot longer, rather than just someone who just turns up, doesn't really pay attention to them and just says, give me another 10 reps. Building that rapport is going to be so key to guarantee your revenue going forwards. Now, as I say, I'm lucky enough to have clients who have been with me for 14, 15, even 16 years, trained twice a week. And the reason I think they stay with me for this length of time is because we have built up a rapport. I do know about their children and what their children's children are doing. And I do ask them all about it. So caring about your clients, not just from a training point of view, treating them like people is so key to you growing your business out and keeping the retention of your clients, which we know is so important if you want to build that 6-figure plus personal training business. Now, so many personal trainers are seen as gossips or just being a little bit nosy with their clients. And what I found over 22 years now as a personal trainer with my own business is it's really important to take an interest in clients, but not to probe them and be nosy. So if they say something to you, first of all, it goes no further than that session and them. It's really important because it is an incredibly small world and people will know if you're gossiping not to take anything from that session and tell another client. But making sure if they do tell you something, you don't probe and probe and probe and probe. You let them talk to you. So, for example, if a client says, oh, do you know what, Rob, I just want to get cracking with this session today. I've had a really, really tough day in the office and I just need this. I won't say, oh, why? What's happened? I'll simply say, yeah, of course, no problem at all. Let's take some stress out and let's get into this workout. Because invariably they don't feel under pressure to tell me, but chances are, because I haven't probed them, they probably will end up telling me anyway. And those things that they then tell you help build that relationship and build that relationship stronger and stronger and stronger. And again, the stronger relationship you can have with your clients, the longer they're going to stay with you and continue to spend money with you. Now, there's a little game I like to try and play, especially with personal trainers who are known for talking about themselves a little bit too much. And this is the game. Can you complete a whole session with one of your clients without telling them anything about you. It's much, much harder than it sounds. But just try and bounce back as much stuff they ask you back on them. So, for example, if a client says to me, Rob, how are you doing? And trying to get in a big conversation about that, I would say, yeah, no problem at all. But more importantly, how are you? How's your week been? Try and flip it straight back onto them. As we say, people love talking about themselves, but your client should be front and centre. It shouldn't be about my life in their hour. It should all be about their life. Now, this is a concept called reverse charisma, and it is massively, massively powerful. Chris Williamson talks about this on his Modern Wisdom podcast a lot. If you don't listen to Chris's podcast, please go and check it out. It is absolutely fantastic. But he said a quote which I will always, always remember, and I've got it here. Now, Chris always recounts a story, and I'm going to read it to you now. So, this is all about a story about Jenny Jerome, who was the mother of Winston Churchill. And it illustrates the concept of reverse charisma perfectly. Now, the story centres on Jerome dining with two of the greatest political rivals of Victorian England, William Gladstone and Benjamin Disraeli. And the story goes, after meeting both men on consecutive nights, Jenny Jerome was asked about her impressions of them. Her response perfectly captures the difference between traditional charisma and reverse charisma, which I think is more powerful. Sitting next to William Gladstone, she said, when I left the dining room after sitting with Mr. Gladstone, I thought he was the cleverest man in England. Sitting next to Benjamin Disraeli, she said, but when I sat next to Mr. Disraeli, I left feeling I was the cleverest woman in England. And it shows that you don't need to be massively charismatic or gregarious or loud, but making someone feel special is enough to send that person away happy, contented, and pleased with being in your company. And that's what all personal training sessions are about. Take away the training side of things, make your clients feel like that they are the star. And that is what I want you to take away from today's video. So the next clients you try and train, I want to think about, do you make them feel special? Are you starting to use reverse charisma in your sessions and make them the most important focus? Until then, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.